Before the dream came true, there was a pit. Not a metaphor, not a hard season, a real hole in the ground. Stone walls, dust, and a circle of light above you that gets smaller every time you blink. And the unsettling part is this: Joseph doesn't stumble into betrayal by accident. He walks toward it, one obedient step at a time. So here's the question the whole story is pushing toward. Was Joseph arrogant or chosen? Because in Genesis 37, his brothers basically say, let's see what becomes of your future. And that moment is a test every one of us recognizes. When what God says about you collides with what people feel about you. And we're going to move through this in 8 turns. Not because the story needs a formula, but because tension builds faster when you can feel each step tightening. Before the dream came true, the story got ugly. Joseph is 17 when the discomfort starts. His father Jacob loves him openly, and everyone can see it. The robe isn't just clothing, it's a public message. Favor has fabric, and when one son wears it, the others feel what it implies. Then Joseph tells the dreams. First dream, sheaves in a field. His stands upright. Their sheaves bow. Second dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bow down to him. These aren't vague little impressions you forget by lunch. They sound like authority. Like a future where the family's center of gravity shifts toward Joseph. Here's what most people miss. The dreams don't create the jealousy, they reveal it. The resentment is already there. Joseph's words just give it a shape. Even Jacob hesitates. He pushes back and asks if the whole family will really bow down to him. That question does 2 things at once. It humbles Joseph if pride is the issue, and it confirms the dream is big enough to disturb the room. And this is how it starts in real life too. People don't always hate you for what you did. They hate you for what your future might mean about theirs. That's why the next moment matters. Joseph is about to be sent into the open with nothing between him and their resentment. Jacob tells him to go check on his brothers. Normal errand, simple instruction, but isolation starts with simple instructions. Joseph goes alone. Long walk, wide island, empty stretches where the wind is the only sound. The story slows down here on purpose, like it wants you to feel how exposed he is. No friends, no guard, no buffer, just obedience and distance. Then he gets there, and it's empty. He searches, wanders. A man finds him and asks what he's looking for. Joseph answers plainly, I seek my brethren. The man points him toward Dothan. That small redirection is one of the scariest hinges in the chapter. Because if Joseph doesn't meet that stranger, he might never find them. No Dothan, no pit, but Joseph keeps walking. If he turns back, he stays safe. If he keeps going, he walks right into their decision. And the terrifying part is, he doesn't know a decision has already been made. From a distance, the brothers see him first. Not close enough to hear his voice, just close enough to recognize the robe. The symbol arrives before the person. And they say the line that lights the match. Behold, this dreamer cometh. Notice the shift. He's not our brother in their mouths. He's the dreamer. The problem isn't just Joseph. It's the story Joseph thinks he's in. Then they say the part that changes everything. Come, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. That's not just anger. That's a challenge to the promise itself. This isn't a fight. It's a vote. And the vote is, your future dies here. Or so they thought. Joseph is still walking toward them expecting family. They're already deciding the value of his life. When Joseph arrives, there isn't a conversation, there isn't an argument. It's a fast, hands grabbing, bodies closing in, voices overlapping. And the first thing they do is strip the robe. That matters because before they remove him, they remove his identity. Before they throw him down, they erase the visible sign of favor. The robe was Jacob's message to the family. The stripping is the brother's reply. And Joseph, at least in the text, doesn't get a heroic speech here. No recorded defense, no weight, just silence. Sometimes the darkest moment isn't where you say something brave. It's where you don't even get the chance. And that's why the next turn is worse. And the Bible slows down long enough to drop one line that changes everything. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. That's not trivia. This means Joseph won't drown or pass out quickly. He must remain at the bottom of the pit and sit, relying on God patiently. Darkness, dust, echo, the scrape of sandals above him, voices drifting in and out as they decide what to do next. This is Joseph's darkest night before anything comes true, because the dream doesn't just get challenged, his entire world gets unplugged. And here's what makes it brutal. It's not water that threatens him, it's time. The pit is what you use when you're still negotiating how cruel you want to be. And then the story delivers one of the coldest sentences in Genesis. It says they sat down to eat bread. Not after it was resolved, not after Joseph is safe, but while he still sits inside of the pit. The betrayal isn't explosive, it's calm. You can survive as enemies yell at you. What breaks you is when the people closest to you stay normal while you're falling apart. Reuben tries to steer them away from murder. He wants Joseph alive, secretly hoping to rescue him later. Judah looks at the situation and asks the line that turns a brother into a transaction. What profit is it? Come, let us sell him. Here's what most people miss. This isn't mercy, it's efficiency. They don't suddenly become kind, they become practical. If Reuben gets back in time, Joseph lives at home. If Judah wins, Joseph disappears into the world. And right on cue, an outside force emerges. A caravan appears, traders moving south. Camels, loads, spices, ordinary commerce passing through at the wrong moment. They pull Joseph up from the pit, and for half a second, you want to believe this is a rescue, because up feels better than down. But being lifted up is not the same as being saved. Silver changes hands, rope changes hands, and Joseph changes ownership. He's sold, and distance starts doing the work that guilt can't undo. He goes up, but not free. He leaves the pit, but not home. Sometimes life doesn't break you with a collapse. Sometimes it just moves you. New city, new job, new season, and it still feels like loss. Now they don't just have to get rid of Joseph. They have to explain the empty space he left behind. Reuben returns later ready to pull Joseph out, but the pit is empty. The boy is gone. And where shall I go? They take the robe, stain it with blood, and send it home like evidence. Jacob recognizes it, collapses in grief. He refuses comfort. He mourns as if Joseph is dead, and the family lets him. And that's the aftershock. One sin doesn't stay with the sinner. It spreads through the house like smoke. Meanwhile, Joseph is alive and being carried toward Egypt by strangers. Here's what most people miss at the end of Genesis 37. God doesn't speak again in this chapter. No new dream to soften the pain, no voice to explain the timing, just silence and miles. That silence is the part that used to scare me the most, because you want God to explain what is happening. So imagine the road. Joseph walking south, desert horizon, no father, no brothers, no explanation. His dreams feel impossible now, not because they were small, but because the pit proved he has no control over how they unfold. Before the dream came true, the story got ugly, and the ugliness wasn't random, it was a doorway. Because the pit wasn't the end of the story, It was the transition point. And the next test won't be whether Joseph can survive. It'll be whether he can stay faithful when the dream still feels far away, when temptation comes, when injustice follows, and when the promise takes longer than he expected. This isn't the end. This is just Egypt.